Hey guys, F26 here, and welcome back to Hearts of the F1 League, and we are here today for Season 5, round number 3 at Bahrain, under the floodlights here at the Sakir International Circuit. And as you can see, we're on the soft tyres for qualifying, and that is because my tyre wear was absolutely awful around this track, as you will see throughout the race. But we are about to start the worst qualifying lap in the history of the world, as we now head down towards Turn 1. Can we get it break down nicely into first gear? Yeah, we can. We've actually done that quite well, surprisingly, but I think that's the only thing we do well on this lap. As you can see, we are basically in Qatar. We're that far away from the apex at turn 2, so that's always good as we now head down this little straight towards turn number 4. Can we get this down into second gear nicely? Once again, missing the apex by about 700 kilometers. And it's probably going to be the worst Sector 1 time you've ever seen in your life as we head through this little chicane thing there. We've taken that reasonably nicely, although we probably took way too much curve for the second part as we come into this hairpin. Once again, about 5 feet away from the apex there as we get too much on the exit curve as we head down towards this double left-hander. Can we do this right? Oh, we've actually done it reasonably well. So we can manage to do the hardest corner on the track fine, but then the rest of the lap we have absolutely no clue on to how to drive the track. So coming down the second gear straight towards whatever corner this is, I think it's turn 11. We've taken that all right, actually. A bit of wheel spin on the exit, but overall it wasn't too well. Well, that was actually quite bad. Quite a lot of oversteer there. Flat out through here, so surely we can't mess that up, and indeed we can't as we head towards the second to last corner, taking a wide line, which is actually alright. But at this point I'm raging, and I've messed up what could have been quite a good exit by absolutely bombing it on the power and losing the back end. An absolute treat. Coming into the final corner now, can we actually do this reasonably well? Yeah, that was actually alright as we come over out on towards the straight towards the line now, and let's see what the time is going to be. It's absolutely awful. It's a 1 minute 31 point something, or I think it's like 0.8 or something. Absolutely awful. So we're going to go again, and this time we're on the super softs, but I was basically thinking I'll only finish this lap if it's good enough to get me like top 3, because I do think the soft tyres are the best tyres, and as you can see I'm currently inhabiting P9, so basically what I want is to be pushed outside of the top 10, and people like Worthy, who's extremely quick around this track, still haven't set laps, so hopefully that does happen and we don't have to be qualifying on the super. So as you can see, we've actually done that reasonably well despite a bit of oversteer through turn 2, so we're already quite a bit up on our delta from the soft tyre lap, but really I think we need to be like 1.4 seconds up or something if we want to be actually worth completing this lap. If anything less than that, we'll probably back out of it, to be honest. But it's been a solid sector 1, not purple obviously because Project's put in a reasonably good lap actually. I think it was a 30 dead, so it's a very good lap to put him on pole. But nonetheless, we're going to continue on as we come down towards this double left-hander braking zone, and we've absolutely bottled that and missed that apex. But it's not cost us too much. We've been able to take a wide line and take a decent exit, but that might have cost us what would have been a really good lap and what would have been worth going on the super softs, which actually when we think about it might be a good thing that I haven't gone on the super softs. But we're still time to game. Remember on the last lap we bottled this second to last corner, so if we get a good enough exit from this, I might actually decide to continue that. As you can see, we are quite significantly up on our delta, I think about 1.2 seconds, and we are now down into the P10, but we want to be dropped one more position, and then we're lovely, we're in P11 and we can start on whatever tyres we like. Coming through the final corner, and no, that's not enough. We're going to back out of this lap, come straight back into the pit lane, and that is our qualifying over. And where are we going to be starting? Is it going to be P10 or P11? We'll find out any moment now. And it is unfortunately P10 because Worthy decided to back out of his lap, or he corner cut or something. But we are on the soft tyres and we're like the 3rd or 4th runner on those tyres. So overall it might actually be a good shout that we didn't go on the super softs, and we might be able to use that to advantage. I didn't really say the top of the grid, but his Project getting pole from CK the Flying Sky, and I think James F1 etc. on his debut in 3rd. As you can see, that's the strategy: soft, medium, soft, and that is what we're going to be going for today. I think the people on the super softs will have to do 2 mediums or a 3 stop, so it's not going to be easy for those guys, and we're now heading any moment now to the formation lap, really, as we're once again looking at the strategy, but nothing to do there. Let's go onto the formation lap, as you can see, in P10, and we should be pulling away anyway. Now, I think Jordan Gibbs behind me, quite eager to get away on the formation lap. He's been very lucky and is able to go on the mediums, and I think on fresh tyres you might be able to try the one stop, as Gorge Crab's absolutely killed CK there, so that's always good. But yeah, the one stop I think was definitely possible before, because I've seen someone do it, but I think now the tyre glitches out of the game, I think it's impossible unless you have a safety car. So I highly doubt he's going to do a one stop, but you never know. people might try crazy things. So let's skip to the end of the formation lap now, where we can be preparing ourselves for the race start into turn 1, and I suspect it will be quite chaotic into there. Obviously there's been a very heavy braking zone, and it's very easy for people to miss their braking point. As I'm sure you know, I'm referring to the Bedhead Ned in ARL Season 6. But yeah, hopefully we won't be doing that. Obviously we have the racing line on, so hopefully we can't bottle it that hard, but you never know. My lack of ability at this game does sometimes amaze even myself, so it really wouldn't surprise me if I go ploughing into half the field at turn 1. But I don't think that may be particularly popular. But we're on the grid now, and we are waiting at those 5 red lights, and they are coming on now. We have 2 lights, now we have 3, and it's 4 lights, now it's 5 lights, and it's lights out, and away we go for the Bahrain Grand Prix of Season 5. We've actually got an awful start, nice TC, and we're going to be consumed by Jordan Gibbs as we head down to turn 1. We're going to brake nice and early. Jordan Gibbs goes around the outside. He's hit Sam, as does Terra Nova. So I think we've been too cautious, and myself and Casey have been swamped here. We're going to try and go around the outside of Pepsi, but we're unable to do that, and we're down into P12. So we've been way too cautious there. But as we can see, Project's actually gone spinning there from pole, and he's gone. He is in the wall. I think he's got damage to that, so it's very unfortunate. But we're going to go up the inside of Terra Nova and Pepsi into turn number 4 rather, and we're back up inside the points into P9. So overall, despite the general cautiousness at the start, because that's probably not a word, we've actually managed to gain it back into turn 4, and we've got a net gain of 1 position as Casey's gone very deep into the hairpin there. We've had to dab on the brakes, but Commando's in the wall and he's out of the race. Not particularly sure what happened. I assume he just dropped it on the exit of the hairpin, and we're now up into P8. So being cautious appears to have paid off last time round, and we've actually got a net gain of 2 positions from our starting place, but we need to be careful from Pepsi behind us. He started on the same tyres, and I know his pace is quite good, so we need to be careful about that one. But at the moment my eyes are all forward towards Casey Legend and the rest of the pack. Jordan Gibbs actually got a mad start from 11th up into P5 I believe, but Luke is hassling him very much as we head into this sector 3, and I think he's gone up the inside there into the penultimate corner, still side by side, but Luke has got that move done. He was the highest starting soft runner, and I'm sure he'll be aiming to utilise that to probably get a high pace podium position, or maybe even the win. So we'll find out as we break quite early there, and that allows Pepsi to have a look up the inside. So that was probably my fault. Also, Azar Reactions up into P10, having started from 17th and last on the grid. So good start from him as we're now heading down towards turn 1. Casey's having a look at Jordan. We're getting in the 6-3 as well. Are we going to go for a move into turn 1? I think we're too late on the brakes there. We're going to lock up the inside of Casey. We've hit him there, and we're going to have to give the pace back to Jordan, because that wouldn't be a fair overtake at all, as we can see there. But yeah, we're very lucky not to get any damage there. We just missed our braking point. Maybe not aware of the overspeed that we had, and we were quite lucky. But we're going to go back up the inside of Jordan into turn 4. We've skated up the inside there, but he's backed out of that. But he's going to go for the switchback, and we've also got Worthy, I think that was, who's changed his gamer tag for this week because his old account got banned from Xbox Live because he was doing something on GTA, I believe. But yeah, we're up into P7 after that move into turn 4, and that is good for the time being. But as we can see, skimming to the end of the lap, Casey has absolutely bottled the last corner. He's run off the track, and he's going to get a dreadful exit, so I don't think we're even going to need DRS. Gorge Crab's actually winning the race at this point, so GG to him. But we're in the slipstream now as we head down behind Casey Legend. Can we get this move done into turn 1? We've outbraked ourselves again, I think, and we're going to slide in there very deep. Casey should have gone for the switchback there, but instead he's let us through, so that was... I'm not sure if he was being overly nice there, or he just wasn't expecting me to cover off the line and he was going to try and hold it around the outside. But yeah, I unintentionally covered off the line by braking late, and we really need to make sure we actually find a braking point for turn 1 so we don't go sailing on every lap. But yeah, now up into P6 after 3 laps. So that's actually a solid job, to be honest, as we skip towards the end of lap 3. And Sam, my teammate, has been doing a lovely job of holding up Luke after he started on the super softs. So we're going to come into turn 1, and we're once again too late on the brakes. We're going to have to take to the curb to avoid smashing into the back of our teammate Sam, and that's 3 times in 3 full racing laps that we haven't been able to get the car stopped for turn 1 as we lose the back end on the curb on the exit of turn 2 there. So skipping on to lap 5, Azar Reactions to set the fastest lap has been come down towards turn 1, and Sam's gone deep. We've almost hit him, and we've had to actually dab on the brakes, but that time I think we actually sort of got the braking point right as we continue on. So skipping later on to lap 5, we're still behind Sam, whose super softs have started to die, and I think we're going to be taking this opportunity to try and pass him. He's run wide out of the left-hander turn 11 there. We're going to try and go around the outside into turn 12, but this surely isn't going to work, and yeah, I think we're going to back out of that one. But Sam told me in the party he was heading in the pit lane, so at this point I was happy just to sit behind him ready and take the DRS, which would help me defend from Casey and hopefully get after Luke and anyone else who stays out on the next lap. But coming into the final corner, Sam runs deep, so that's not ideal, but we're going to let him take the position ahead of us. Take a bit of slipstream. Casey almost lags up her arse there, so we're quite lucky there. But Sam and most of the other super soft runners, apart from CK the Flying Scot, have decided to stay out as Worthy sets fastest lap of the race. So at the end of lap 6, it's CK from Luke, from myself, but CK's tyres are starting to fall off and Luke is hassling him very much as we head through this first sector. We've also got Casey behind us, and I think Worthy, actually no, Pepsi and then Worthy behind him. So it's a very close fought thing at the moment as we head into turn 4, as Luke and CK are running side by side here towards the end of sector 1. So they're having a good battle, and if they continue to fight, maybe we can catch up here as we head through the chicane thing. We've absolutely bottled that. We've corner cut and we've got a warning because we're a cheat. But hopefully we won't be getting a penalty today, as they're still side by side, Luke and CK. And I think CK's actually managed to maintain it. So fair play to him on those old super soft tyres, managing to maintain it ahead of Luke on soft tyres rather, which are in much better condition as Luke's cut the corner. But Vapid is retired from the race and we now have a virtual safety car. So if that stays out for long enough, it's going to benefit CK hugely compared to the other super soft runners, as he'll be able to come in under the caution conditions where we have to stick to a delta. So he's coming into the pits now as we head down the pit straight, but the virtual safety car is ending, so he's really not going to gain too much out of it. And we're heading down towards turn 1 now, and we've actually managed to get the braking point right for once, and Luke's actually not got it right. But yeah, I don't think we'll have the pace to catch Luke. He was very strong around this track and my pace wasn't particularly good, but at this point I was more worried about the tyre wear. And as we can see, skipping to the end of lap 8, my tyres were at nearly 80% as we absolutely nailed the pit entry there, on point stuff. But yeah, my tyres were extremely close to blowing up as we hold up Luke in the pit lane there. But yeah, this was the issue that I had throughout the race. At the end of the stints, I had no pace due to the fact that my tyre wear was awful. On the rears, on the fronts it was fine, it was like 20% different. On the fronts I was only at like 60% or below, but on the rears I was nearly at 80%, as we can see, coming out in P10 behind Sam. But we are on the much superior tyres at this stage, 2 or 3 laps newer, and we are hoping to be cruising through this field in this stint and in the last stint as well. So skipping towards the end of lap 9, we've caught up to my teammate. We didn't have to do much catching up, and hopefully he won't fight us too hard as we're going to get on the DRS now. And I don't think he's going to fight us too hard. So cheers to Sam for not really fighting that one, as we're going to go easy through up into P9 now as we head down to turn 1. Can we get the car stopped? Just about. And as we can see, Gorsh has run wide ahead in a 3-way battle for what will be P4 actually. So we're very close to the podium positions actually. As you look at the mini-map, Jordan Gibbs, who's started in the mediums, is still out, so actually in a net P6 at this stage. As we can see, coming to start lap 11, we've set a personal best. We're in the DRS of Gorsh Crab as we head down towards turn 1. And there's actually a lap car, OMG, it's Joe, who exited the pit lane just ahead of Azar Reaction, so that's going to be extremely annoying for him, because I don't believe Joe got out of the way for a couple of laps. So that's unfortunate for Azar, but we're on the back of Gorsh now, so we've got a nice slipstream, but he's broken really early for turn 4. We have to chuck it up the inside, and apologies to Gorsh for that content. Nothing really I could do. I had the car slowed down, but the curb just forced me out wide onto him as we come through the chicane. But Gorsh isn't particularly quick at this stage of the race, and I want to be getting past him as soon as possible. Worthy's also done an undercut on us and is now ahead of us, so that's not ideal either. But coming to the double left-hander, hopefully we can get Gorsh on this DRS straight. But he's run wide there, so we're going to chuck it up the inside. We're going full lock, no throttle impact. There's been more contact there, nothing I could do once again, and this time on the DRS we're going to pass him easy. But yeah, Gorsh, for some reason, unnecessary complaining about that incident. I don't really feel I did anything wrong in either of the cases. It's just unfortunate that we banged wheels. The first one, the curb chucked me off, and the second one, full lock, no throttle input, so nothing really I can do. So skipping to the end of lap 12, Jordan Gibbs is now in the pit lane after his extremely long stint on the mediums, and we're up into P5. But lap 14, Worthy was starting to get away, but now we've started to close back down on him, and I don't particularly know why, but our pace seems to be much superior to the guy who actually holds #1 time trial in the world around this track. So can we overtake him into the final corner? I think we are going to get it. We're going to get the DRS as well, so that is basically the perfect overtake, and we've got that move done up into P4. But despite the fact that we're going to have DRS, his wings were unbelievably low, and he's going to have the slipstream. But I think we're going to be pulling away just about now. It's still pretty even, but now we're starting to get the overspeed with the DRS, and if we can get that slowed down, which we don't, we've run too deep. Worthy's going to have a look on turn 2, but I think we're going to hold that with the inside line, and indeed we do. up into position number 4 then for the Haas boys. And that is a solid drive from us so far. Next up is CK the Flying Scot on the medium tyres as well, but he hit 2 laps earlier than us, so our tyres are slightly fresher at this point as we head towards the end of sector 1, just staying ahead of Worthy for the moment. As we can see, CK has actually lost it on the curb there, and he's been chucked off extremely wide, and good save from him, especially considering he's on the pad to manage to keep that under control, but he's lost a bit of time from that, and that actually did give us DRS. And as you can see, skipping a couple of laps later, we're still within the DRS of CK as we head into turn 1 now. Worthy looks up the inside. We have to adjust our turning angle there because he was extremely late on the brakes, but he does use ABS, so obviously that gives him a bit of an advantage there, but it wasn't enough to get him past us, and we are able to maintain P4. But as we can see, skipping on to lap 18, we've got serious slipstream on CK. His older tyres are probably starting to hinder him now as Sam is in the pit lane, but we are unable to make the move into turn 1. But this is good. We're sticking with CK, and hopefully we can pounce in the last stint, or maybe even next lap when his tyres are on the point of exploding. But as we can see, CK is coming in for a very early pit stop on lap 18, and he's going for the soft tyres, so he's going to have to take them 11 laps towards the end of the race, and I don't really think that's a possible strategy without them blowing up, definitely with my tyre wear. Once again, skipping to the end of lap 19, we've just about survived. Our tyres are once again on the point of exploding around 80%, and we're going to follow James F1 etc. into the pit lane, but he was telling me in the party that he did have a penalty at this point in the race, so that is good for us. All we need to do is stick within 3 seconds of him in the last stint, and we can be taking home P2, but I suspect CK would have undercut us with the fresh soft tyres, so we're going to have to negotiate him if we want to be battling James. CK does have a penalty, but it was unjustified due to the fact it was given when he saved the car running off the track. But as you can see, there goes CK. We're down into P7 for the moment, but obviously this is not a net P7, and I'm sure we'll be back up into the position that we should be very soon, as we can see Gorsh Crab going side by side with Worthy, I think that was, although it may have been Azar. I'm not 100% on that one. So coming towards the end of the sector, then on lap number 20, just getting the car stopped down there, as we've got James behind his teammate, actually Jordan Gibbs, who's once again out of sync with the rest of the field due to starting on the medium tyres as we come through the chicane thing there. And we're going to be having to get past Jordan as soon as possible. As we can see, he's extremely slow on those soft tyres, which he's been on for about 8 laps. He's squeezing us there towards the edge of the track, so I'm going to have to back out of this, but I think he's too late on the brakes. He's gone too deep into the double left-hander, and yeah, that wasn't my greatest piece of driving ever, so apologies for that, but I think Jordan had basically submitted the position anyway, so apologies for that. I try not to cut corners, as you know, but unfortunately sometimes mistakes do happen, and that was an example. But as we can see, lap 21 we're up to 4th due to the pit stops, but now CK and James actually collided there, so we're up into P3, and this is perfect. If we can stick within James's DRS towards the end of the race, that is it, that is us done, and we're going to take home a solid P2 from 10th on the grid. As we can see, he's getting to the end of lap 23. CK's still with us, but his tyres are starting to drop off, but we are still crucially within this DRS of James. But as we can see, lap 24, we've had a bad lap. CK's had a good lap, and he's back within our DRS, but we have dropped from James's DRS, which is disastrous. But we've still got another 2-second window. You can see the gap's only just over a second. But lap number 29 now, we're just within 3 seconds of James. As you can see, he's there. Once again, my tyres are absolutely exploding. CK's had to slow it right down due to the fact that his tyres were going to explode if he didn't back it out. We've got Terra Nova, who we're lapping at this point. And there we go, we've got that move done. But that DRS is going to help us as we hope to remain within 3 seconds of James as we come through this right-hander there. And as you can see, the gap is 2.7 seconds, so we need to make sure we don't bottle this last sector, because if we do, we might be out of the window. But as you can see, our tyre wear was awful there, 83% on the left rear, absolutely at screaming point. And I did find out after this race, the Flying Finn told me that the wheel actually has worse rear tyre wear, as we can see, lighting up the rears out of the final corner. Is it going to be enough? Can we get P2 as we head across the line? And no, it's not. We're P3. Missed out by 55 thousandths of a second there. And as you can see, the results on screen now, the Silent Mole taking a fantastic win and winning drive of the day as a result, with James in second, just ahead of us due to his penalty. I got third with CK in fourth. Solid drive from Pepsi as well for fifth, with Casey in sixth. He was fifth, but a penalty dropped him down to sixth. Sam took home 7th, with Azar in 8th after an unfortunate incident with Gorsh Crab. Worthy got a puncture on the last lap and dropped to 9th, and Jordan Gibbs claimed 10th. But yeah, that's been it for today. I hope you did enjoy highlights from a very strategical, not the most action-packed race compared to China, but still very fun to drive nonetheless. And I'll see you very soon for the Russian Grand Prix at cornercutheaven.com/track extent. That's been it for today, guys. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.